I think it's time for a little spring/summer book haul. So admittedly, this isn't going to be like the biggest book haul ever, but these are some of the books that I've bought since March, which was my birthday, and now we are in June. We're almost halfway through June, which is just blowing my mind right now because I've only read one book this month. Let's not talk about that. But I have bought a few books, so I wanted to share them with you all. And I picked these up from a lot of different places like Barnes & Noble, Target, Dollar Tree, Walmart. So it's gonna be kind of like a mixed bag. And then I've also been sent some of these books, so let's just get right on into it. Also, it's like in the 80s right now. It's like almost 90 degrees. It's so hot today. So if you see my hair kind of like doing its own thing, that's just what it's about. Like, I don't want to put it up, but it's also really, really warm. I have a lot of hair. So the first two books I want to talk about are both books that I picked up while I was in New York. And this first book is one that I got while I was at a Walmart in New York, and that is How to Be a Wallflower by Eloisa James. This is obviously a historical romance. I have personally never read anything from Eloisa James, but I have heard a lot of good things about her books. And this year specifically, I have been really into historical romance, so I saw this. It looked really intriguing, and I decided to pick it up. And from the back of this book, it seems to be kind of like a rivals to lovers sort of romance. They both seem to be really into fashion and really into designing things. So Cleopatra decides to buy this costume emporium, and the hero, Jacob Astor Addison, is furious when she decides to buy it. And I guess he probably wanted it. He didn't get it, she did. And so they kind of strike this bargain that they are going to design each other's wardrobes. I'm not really sure why, honestly. It doesn't necessarily explain why they're doing that. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I love the cover. I love the back of the book too. It's really, really cute. I don't know if you can see it. I love the back of this book. So yeah, I don't know. I think it sounds really interesting. I've seen a few other people pick up this book as well. So let's hope that we enjoy it. The second book is also one that I picked up while I was in New York, and I picked this one up at the Barnes & Noble that was literally right down the street from my hotel, and that is Happy Hour by Marlo Granados. And I have heard a lot of really good things about this book. I've seen it all over TikTok, all over Instagram, and I've just heard a lot of really great things about it. I've heard that it's really fun, that it's like perfect for summer, that it's kind of like the opposite of like the sad girl autumn books, if that makes any sense. And I think that it's going to be perfect for summer. I cannot wait to read this. I don't really know exactly too much of what it's about. I know that it takes place in New York. I believe that it might be about these two Canadian friends who decide to live in New York for the summer, but I'm not really sure if that's exactly what it's about. So yeah, it sounds like a really fun and interesting book, and I was so glad that I decided to pick it up from Barnes & Noble because I think I'm going to really love it. The next two books are ones that I actually just recently picked up from Barnes & Noble. These were buy one get one half off, and I also have the rest of my Barnes & Noble membership to use. I think that it's going to be expiring in June. I hope that it's expiring this month because I do not want to pay $25 to renew it. So I have to make sure that that's going to be canceled this month. Anyway, I picked up The Messy Lives of Book People by Phaedra Patrick, and this sounded really good. I was actually just about to check out, and I had like different books in my hands, and I saw this one. I was like, ooh, wait, let me see what this one's about. Let me check it out. Let me like look it up on Goodreads. And I did, and I was just like immediately drawn in. So I ended up putting back my other books and deciding to buy this one instead, and I'm really glad that I did. I love this cover. I was just like immediately like, wait, I love this. I love like the whole bookish bookshelves aesthetic. It's just so cute. And when I read the back, it actually reminded me of one of the books that I've read a few months ago, and that is Who is Maud Dixon by Alexandra Andrews. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. And basically that book is about this aspiring writer. She becomes the assistant to one of the biggest writers of the moment, and that writer is actually anonymous. Like nobody knows who she is except for the assistant who's going to be helping her. And that book was so good. It was kind of more of a thriller, and I don't believe that this one is a thriller. I'm pretty sure it's just like a contemporary book. And basically this follows Liv, and she is a housekeeper for a very famous writer, and when that writer suddenly passes away, she finds out that she kind of left the book to her to finish. And it seems like there is sort of a mystery aspect to this book, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a thriller in the way that Who is Maud Dixon was. So I'm really excited about this book. I think I'm really going to like it, and I think it'll be a perfect summary book. The second book that was part of that buy one get one 50% off deal, I picked up Early Morning Riser by Katherine Heiny. This one I've heard really great things about. I was looking through some of the Goodreads reviews, and it seems like this book is super funny, which is kind of what I'm looking for at the moment. I need some more like lighthearted, funny reads. I know that Carly from UnCarly was talking about this recently in one of her last videos, and she was kind of talking about how the sad girl books are kind of getting a little bit boring, they're getting a little bit repetitive, and I do kind of agree with that. So I've been trying to look for like more happy, funny books to read, especially for the summer, and I think that it's going to be perfect. It's going to be a nice little break from some of the more sad girl books. I hate calling them that because it's just like such a ridiculous name, but that's kind of what they are. So I'm really excited to find some more like happier, lighthearted books, and I think that this one's going to be perfect. Basically, it seems like this woman Jane is dating one of like her little town's most prolific daters, or just like, I don't know who you'd call him. Like, I guess you'd probably call him a rake, maybe, if it was like a historical romance. I know that there's a word for that, and I'm totally blanking on it, and I can't remember what it is. Like, not like a charmer, but something kind of like that. Anyway, that's not making any sense. I'm going to like completely butcher the synopsis, but basically the guy that she's dating is like still really good friends with his ex-wife, and like is friends with everybody, he's dated, whatever. And I guess that like there's a car crash, something happens, and this synopsis is honestly pretty vague. I notice that a lot with like adult literature. Their synopsises are so vague. That's one of my issues with adult literature in general, and I don't blame like the author or the book or whatever. It's mainly probably publishers. For some reason, publishers cannot adequately explain adult literature, which is so weird to me, but that's just how it is, I guess. Also, I feel like I'm historically really bad at describing synopses, especially in hauls when I haven't even read the book yet. So yeah, sorry if I completely butchered all of that. It probably doesn't make any sense. These next two books are ones that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree books are always hit and miss. You never really know if you're gonna get anything good. You never really know that if like the books that you pick up are gonna be like worth even the $1.25 that you spent on them. So we'll see about these books. But I decided to pick up I Was Told It Would Get Easier by Abby Waxman. I'm just gonna read the tiny little blurb at the top, and it says, stuck on a bus full of strangers, mother and daughter duo Jessica and Emily Bernstein watch their carefully mapped out college tour devolve into something they never expected in this hilarious, insightful new novel from the author of The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Actually, The Bookish Life of Nina Hill is the one that I DNF'd really early. So yeah, we're gonna try this out again. I'm gonna give this author another chance. I've heard really great things about her books otherwise, so might as well try it out. The next book that I picked up from the Dollar Tree is The Actual One by Izzy Suddy. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I actually don't even know who she is. I might know who she is if I googled her and like saw any of her credits or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that she's a comedian, and this just looked like really interesting. The tagline says, how I tried and failed to avoid adulthood forever, and I figured, you know, it might be a really funny book. It's from a comedian. I bet it's funny. And I really love reading these like short, sweet little kind of memoir-ish books. I just think that they're a lot of fun. Also in the camera, it looks like the colors are matching. This is a bit more blue, this is a bit more green, but they're such similar colors. The next book is one that I picked up at Target because it was signed by the author, and that is The Standin by Lily Chu. And as you can see, autographed copy right here. And this one I am really excited about because it's a Prince and the Pauper retelling. love those kind of narratives. I think they're so much fun. And this one seems really, really interesting. Basically, the main character, Gracie, has just gotten fired from her job, and she also has to find a nursing home for her mom. And suddenly, one day, an SUV pulls up beside her, and there's this Chinese movie star in the car, and she's like, hey, do you want to become my, like, double? Like, do you want to take my place for a little bit? And she's like, sure, great, let's do this. And then of course, within all of these Prince and the Pauper narratives, chaos ensues. So I'm really excited to read this book. I think it's gonna be right up my alley. It is a little thick for a romance book or for like an adult contemporary book. Especially with romance, I do like to keep it under 350. This is really cutting it close. This is about like 360. So it's about as high as I want to go in adult romance, but I mean, I'm really excited to read this book. I love the cover. The colors are so pretty, and I'm just ready. And you know what? This is truly one of my favorite colors, as you can see. A lot of things in my room are this blue, which is hilarious because I always say that my favorite color is purple, but I genuinely think that my favorite color is probably this blue. This next book is another one that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Literally every time I go to the Dollar Tree or even the 99-cent store, I always go to their book section. The Dollar Tree is better for books. The 99-cent store doesn't typically have very many books. Sometimes it does, sometimes you get lucky, but the Dollar Tree is definitely a lot better for those. But I ended up finding this book there, and this is called The Seasonaires by Jana King. And this sounded really interesting. Like, I have never heard of it before, I've never seen it before, but I love the cover. It's just so beachy and summery, and I think that it's gonna be a lot of fun. It says, a Seasonaire's summer is the dream of a lifetime. And this blurb says, timely and dazzling, with an uncanny knack for understanding and exploding millennial stereotypes. I cannot say those words together. Jana King shows us the consequences of selfish choices, but it sure seems fun before reality seeps into this party-filled summer. With an eclectic cast of characters all up for adventure, The Seasonaires will keep readers guessing until the very last page of this genre-bending novel, a mashup sure to delight thriller fans from any generation. So that'll be really interesting. I think that it gives kind of a good vibe for this book. It seems like it's going to be kind of a mix between contemporary and thriller, which I really enjoyed when I read Who is Maud Dixon. I felt like that was one of the perfect combos of, you know, like a mashup of contemporary sort of lit fic and thriller. I think I said in my reading vlog where I read that book that I wanted to find more books that were similar to that, where it had like that mashup, and I'm so glad that I picked up this book and it has something similar. The next book is one that I got sent from Random House, and they reached out to me and they were like, hey, do you want to receive this book? And I was like, absolutely, it sounds right up my alley. And that is Such Big Dreams by Rima Patel. And this cover, literally gorgeous, literally stunning. This is everything that I love in a cover. I love the huge title. I love this like little cityscape down here, the clouds and the rain. It's just, everything is so gorgeous, the colors. So yeah, that's what immediately drew me to this book, and I was like, absolutely, I want to read this book. On the inside it says, a savvy former street child working at a law office in Mumbai fights for redemption and a chance to live life on her terms in this fresh, propulsive debut novel about fortune and survival. I think this is going to be such a fun book to read, and like all the other books in this stack, I think that it's going to be perfect for summer. I am just trying to find all of my summer books. I have so many on my shelves, but you know, you can never have too many, honestly. And currently right now, I am like such in a summer spring phase. I cannot even, like, I could just barely finish anything that's fantasy. I'm supposed to be doing a fantasy reading vlog, and I'm struggling with that because I'm just not in a fantasy mood. I really just want to read contemporary, romance, stuff like that. So it's getting really difficult, but I mean, as you can see, I'm definitely in my summer reading phase. And the very last book that I have for this book haul is actually my book of the month from last month. Yeah, so I forgot to continue with like pausing my membership, So yeah, that's been kind of a struggle, kind of an issue, but it's okay, it's totally fine. I ended up getting a book out of it, and that is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. I have been really wanting this book. I have like been looking at it every time I go to Barnes & Noble, but I can never justify it because it's never like part of a sale or anything. So I really wanted to get it, and I was so glad that it was one of like the alternative choices for the month, and I immediately picked it up. I'm so excited about this book. It's queer, it's about cooking, it's fun, and like all the other books, it's gonna be perfect for summer. So it says, Dahlia Woodson's culinary dreams are coming true. Sure, her marriage ended in a hideous explosion of misery, and she's quit her job for the gamble of a lifetime. But she's finally a contestant on the cooking show Chef's Special. Now all Dahlia has to do is not fall on her face more than once, make the best food of her life, and try not to get distracted by her hot, incredibly dishy competition. London Parker is fighting for more than just a cooking title. Not only did they just come out as non-binary on national television, but this is an opportunity for London to raise some support and a ton of cash for the queer community. No pressure. Getting distracted by a tiny and adorable tornado like Dahlia would be disastrous. Still, somewhere among the flying fish tacos, rampant egos, and culinary chaos is something that looks a lot like deliciously spicy chemistry. But can London and Dahlia's growing relationship take the heat, or are they about to get burned? So I'm really excited to read this. I've heard so many great things about this book. I might try to sneak it in for June. I don't really know, but like, we can read queer books all year round. Like, that's not a big deal. So we'll see if I can get to it in June. If I can't, it'll probably be a July or August read, so that'll be super fun. So yeah, those were all of my books that I have picked up in the few months since my last book haul. Hopefully I won't have another one for quite a while. Really need to be pinching those pennies at the moment, so yeah, probably won't be seeing a book haul from me for a while. At least I hope not. I do hope that you enjoyed this book haul, and if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, TikTok, Storygraph. All the links are going to be down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you.